morning, good afternoon, good evening, beautiful people of the world. Welcome to Math Made Easy with Mrs. L. Today, I'm going to show you how to factor quadratic trinomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. When we have a quadratic trinomial of this form, it is important to know how to call the terms that are included in the trinomial. The first term, which is your ax squared, is called your quadratic term simply because of the exponent 2. The middle term, which is bx, is called your linear term. And c is actually referred to as your constant term. When factoring quadratic trinomials of this form, it is also important for you to know how to identify the values of your variables a, b, and c. I have here a specific example of a quadratic trinomial, x squared plus 7x plus 12. If I want to identify the values of a, b, and c, okay, a is the coefficient of your quadratic term. Remember, when we say coefficient, this is the number that is written before the variable. So in which case, I don't see a number written before x squared, but I know that that number is equal to 1 because we don't normally write 1 as a coefficient. That said, my a is equal to 1. B is the coefficient of my linear term, so in which case my b is positive 7. And c is actually your constant term. So in my specific example, my c is equal to 12. When we factor quadratic trinomials, the factors are actually called binomial factors. I have here a particular quadratic trinomial which I already factored for you. I factored x squared plus 5x plus 6, and my factors are x plus 2 and x plus 3. These are called your your binomial factors. Remember, if I want to multiply these two binomial factors, I am going to get this quadratic trinomial. If I factor this quadratic trinomial, my factors will be these two binomial factors. In essence, factoring quadratic trinomials and multiplying two binomials, they undo each other. These are opposite processes. So how are we going to factor a quadratic trinomial of this form? I am going to show you one easy way, and we call that method the diamond method. Some other teachers call it the star method. Other teachers call it the Canadian method. No matter how we call it, we make use of the same template. And how does the template look like? It looks like this. First, you have to draw a big letter X and draw a horizontal line in the middle, just like what I did here, creating 6 spots. Notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots. In this spot, I'm going to multiply a times x. That I have ax. And duplicate that on this spot. In between these two axes, I am going to write the value of b. Below the b, down under, I'm going to multiply the values of a and c. Notice that I have 2 empty spots, and that is what we are going to work on. Okay? So let's go ahead and try to factor quadratic trinomials, and be mindful that I actually divided this lesson into 2 parts. We're going to work on part 1 today, and that is factoring quadratic trinomials where a is equal to 1 and c is a positive integer. Oh, what happened to your b? So I again subdivided this lesson into 2, where b is positive and where b is negative. And I wanted to start with when b is positive. So in my particular example, I am going to factor this quadratic trinomial, x squared plus 7x plus 12. And I have already prepared the parentheses where I'm going to write my binomial factors, because I wanted to show you that we are actually creating equivalent expressions, that this trinomial is equal to those binomial factors. Okay? Now, if you are a visual learner, it is important that you identify first the values of A, B, and C. But if you are not, you may skip this step. So again, A is equal to 1, the coefficient of your quadratic term. B is equal to 7, coefficient of your linear term. And C is your constant term, which is 12. Now, I again copy-pasted the template down here so that you can use it as your reference. So on this spot, I'm going to multiply A and X. A is 1 times X, then I have 1X. And I'm going to duplicate that on the other side. I have 1X on the other side. In between these two, right in the center, I'm going to write the value of B. And B is equal to 7. Down below, I am going to multiply the values of A and C. A is 1, C is 12. So notice that I need to write these two numbers that I'm going to multiply for a reason. 1 times 12 is equal to 12. Why do I always want my students to write the two numbers that I multiply down below? Because in some cases, if you just write the product, 1 times 12 is 12, when A is no longer equal to 1, when A is greater than 1, chances are the value of A is disregarded, is forgotten. Students will always assume that A is equal to 1. So it is important that you write those two numbers that you need to multiply down below. So in this case, 1 times 12, which is equal to 12. Now notice that we have these empty spots. That is where we're going to write our magic numbers. Now, how are we going to find those magic numbers? Simply by answering this question. What multiplies to 12 but adds to 7? I'm going to repeat that question. What multiplies to 12 but adds to 7? So we're going to start by finding the factors of 12, right? There are 3 pairs of factors for 12. 1 times 12 is the first set of factors. 1 times 12 is 12, right? But 1 plus 12 is equal to 13. And we need a sum of 7. That said, this is not the set of factors that we need. That's not the magic numbers that we're looking for. Another set of factors for 12 will be 6 and 2. So 6 times 2 is equal to 12, correct? But when I add these two numbers, 6 plus 2 is equal to 8. 7 is what I'm looking for. So therefore, 6 and 2 are not the magic numbers that I'm looking for. And I'm going to think again, what are other possible factors of 12? I would think 4 times 3, is it not? 4 times 3 is 12. And when you add 4 and 3, 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. And that is the sum that we are looking for. What multiplies to 12 but adds to 7 are the numbers 4 and 3. 4 and 3 are your magic numbers. And we are going to write these magic numbers on these empty spots right here. 4 and 3. Correct? Now, another question that may possibly come up is, can I write the 4 on the other side or can I switch the spots? Right? Yes, you can. Because remember, multiplication is always commutative. The order of the factors will never affect the product. Look, 4 times 3 is equal to 12 and 3 times 4 is equal to 12. Now that we have completed our template, this 1x plus 4 and 1x plus 3 are your binomial factors. But remember, we don't write 1 as a coefficient. So that said, the factors of x squared plus 7x plus 12 are x plus 4 and x plus 3. How do you know that you're right? Simplest way and the fastest way will be multiply the first terms of your binomial factors, x times x squared. That's going to give you your quadratic term in your quadratic trinomial. And then multiply the constants of your binomial factors. 4 times 3 is equal to 12. and that is going to give you the constant in your quadratic trinomial. If you want to make sure that your answer is indeed right, you may want to make use of the FOIL method, the first, outer, inner, last technique in multiplying two binomials. Okay? So next, what happens if b is negative? So I have here a particular example of a quadratic trinomial, x squared minus 8x plus 7. Okay? Same process, same algorithm. A is equal to 1. B this time is equal to negative 8. And C is equal to 7. And then we're going to make use of the template again to fill in the spots. So on this spot, I'm going to write 1x. Duplicate that on the other side, 1x. B goes into this spot, which is negative 8. And below my negative 8, I'm going to multiply the A and C. In this case, 1 times 7, which is going to give me a 7. Now, notice again that we have this empty spots here where we are going to write our magic numbers. And to find our magic numbers, we simply answer the question again, what multiplies to 7 but adds to negative 8? I'm going to repeat, what multiplies to 7 but adds to negative 8? So we're going to start off with the factors of 7. Since 7 is a prime number, we only have one set of factors, and these are the numbers 1 and 7. 1 times 7 is equal to 7, right? When I add these two numbers, 1 plus 7, that gives me an 8, which is not what I need. What I need is a sum of negative 8. So what can I do to make it right? Remember that if you multiply two negative numbers, the product is always positive. So if I am going to make this 1 and 7, negative 1 times negative 7, it will still give me a product of positive 7. But when I add negative 1 plus negative 7, remember we're adding like terms, then our sum is negative 8, which is what we need. That said, our magic numbers are negative 1 and negative 7. And I'm going to write these numbers here, negative 1 and negative 7. Therefore, these are our binomial factors. And I can already put it in my parentheses, x minus 1 and x minus 7. These two are equivalent expressions. X squared minus 8x plus 7 is equal to x minus 1 and x minus 7. And again, to check if your answer is right, the shortest way is just to multiply the first terms of your binomial factors to get x squared, and then multiply the constants of your factors, negative 1 times negative 7, to get your positive 7. In summary, okay, if you are factoring quadratic trinomials where a is equal to 1, right, and c is a positive integer, always take a look at the sign of your b. In this case, since b is a positive number, then both of my binomial factors are positive. However, if b is negative, therefore, the signs of your binomial factors will both be negative. Okay? So again, x squared plus 12x plus 20 is equal to x plus 10 times the quantity x plus 2. But x squared minus 12x plus 20 is equal to x minus 10 times the quantity x minus 2. And again, to check, x times x, x squared. 10 times 2, positive 20. On the other side, x times x, x squared. Negative 10 times negative 2 is positive 20. Now, let's do checking for understanding. We're going to answer this question and show you some test-taking strategies when A is 1 and C is a positive integer. The question is, which of the following is the factored form of x squared plus 14x plus 24? A is 1, C is positive. Look, B is positive. So you know that both of your factors must be positive. Look at your choices. These are both positive. It's a possible answer. This is negative and positive, so you might want to strike that out already. These are both positive. C is both positive, so that's fine. D, they're both negative, so that is not a possible answer. All right? And then go ahead and use the diamond method. When you use the diamond method, you know that if you multiply x and x, that gives you the x squared. If you multiply 12 and 2, that gives you the 24. However, if you look at A, x and x is equal to x squared. 8 times 3 is also equal to 24. Now, how do you know which is the right answer? Is it A or C? Then all you have to do is add your outer and your inner products. 8x plus 3x is 11x, which is not what we need. 12x plus 2x is 14x, which is what we need. So therefore, the correct answer is A. On another note, if we have to find the factored form of x squared minus 13x plus 30, again, all I do is look at the value of B, and it is negative since A is 1 and C is positive. Since B is negative, both factors must be negative. So I will just have to strike out incorrect choices. A is an incorrect choice, right? And D is also an incorrect choice, putting my chances of getting the right answer by 50%. So therefore, which of B and C is right? Because when I do x times x, I get x squared. Negative 10 times negative 3, I also get a positive 30, right? But if I do x times x is x squared. Negative 6 and negative 5 is also positive 30. So what do we do again? You add the products of your outer and your inner terms. So negative 10x plus negative 3x will give you the negative 13x. That said, B is the correct answer. C is incorrect. That is how we factor quadratic trinomials where A is equal to 1, C is positive, and B can either be positive or negative. Thanks for watching. For those of you who would want to download the materials used for this lesson, you can do so by going to my Google site. Thank you very much and have a good day, everyone.